Good Wednesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls, and of course, we are going to be talking a lot about what's taking place here locally in the next couple of days. We've been talking about this long-awaited warm-up for about a week and a half now, and it's right around the corner. But I think the biggest news in weather today is all about the tropics. So let's talk about it. We officially now have our tropical depression in the eastern Pacific that is now called 1E. And you're probably wondering, okay, I thought this was going to be Alvin. Well, whenever you have a tropical depression, that is labeled with a number versus a name. Once this becomes a tropical storm, then it will officially become Tropical Storm Alvin. And that is forecast to take place, whether that's tonight or tomorrow. We're likely going to be seeing this turning into a tropical storm. So here's the latest stats on this. Right now, it's centered about 800 miles south of Baja California. And we have maximum sustained winds right around 35 miles per hour, wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. Once those maximum sustained winds reach 39 miles per hour, we will officially have our first tropical storm of the 2025 hurricane season in the eastern Pacific. Of course, we haven't seen any development just yet over in the Atlantic, but in the Pacific, this is likely going to be the first round. It's moving northwesterly at about 9 miles per hour, and here's where it's forecasted to go. So notice how it's going northwesterly, but then takes off toward the north, kind of a bullseye on southern Baja California right there. But one thing I want you to pay attention to is you see all those red markers along this forecast track. So the ones that you see spinning, that means that it is turning into a tropical storm. So this is actually forecast to become a tropical storm sometime late tonight, if not into early tomorrow morning. So right around 1 a.m., it's forecast to reach those maximum sustained winds of right around 39 miles per hour, close to 40 miles per hour. So again, we could officially have Alvin developing tonight or tomorrow. But then notice how it begins to weaken as it approaches the southern Baja California peninsula. The reason for that is going to be the environment, but also really the key factor is going to be the sea surface temperatures. So let's talk about it. We have 80 degrees, 83 degrees close to where the center of that storm system is. But as it lifts to the north, you'll notice that the sea surface temperatures, they begin to drop. So in order to sustain a tropical storm or a hurricane, you need sea surface temperatures right around 80 degrees. Once it drops below that, it doesn't fuel the storm all that much anymore. So you're going to start to see some weakening. That's what's expected to happen as this approaches the north. So again, it is going to weaken before it makes a possible landfall in southern Baja California. Now, big picture here across the continental United States, it's been kind of a gloomier day across the Chicagoland area, and that's because of this low pressure system that's just been kind of hanging steady right over the Great Lakes region. So if we zoom into that, all of the rain that you see that's stretched across Wisconsin over into Michigan, that's what we picked up this morning. So we've been getting a really nice break from that. We actually even had a couple breaks in the cloud cover today. So that was a welcomed sight of sunshine that we had in the Chicagoland area this afternoon. But sliding things to the south and the west, we do have severe weather to tell you about. There's actually a tornado watch in portions of southwestern Kansas that stretches into the panhandle of both Oklahoma and Texas. That's going to be lasting until about 10 p.m. Sliding to the south, the same exact areas that have been dealing with strong to severe thunderstorms over the last 2 days are seeing them again tonight too. In Texas, near Austin, we have that severe thunderstorm watch remaining in effect, multiple warnings with this, and that blinking warning that you actually see over toward northwest of Austin right now, that's a destructive thunderstorm for wind gusts as high as about 70 to 80 miles per hour. So very dangerous storms taking place farther to our south and our west. Fortunately, we don't really have the chance of strong to severe thunderstorms here in the Great Lakes region anytime soon. We might hear a rumble of thunder tomorrow, but the chance of severe storms really looks to stay away from us. The big weather story here closer to home is all about the heat. So your temperature outlook, this is from June 3rd, which is next Tuesday, through the 7th, which is next Saturday. We are strongly favored to see above average conditions, and this is the warm up that we've been waiting on for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. We've been dealing with below average conditions for the last week and a half or so, and that's been putting us in the 50s and 60s. But typically for this time of the year in Chicago, we're experiencing temperatures that are in the mid 70s. So we're finally looking at above average conditions. That's what this map here is showing us, with the bullseye really being over the Great Lakes region. Notice the western half of the continental United States is actually going to be trending a little bit cooler next week. But for us, that means we have a ridge overhead. So that's why we're going to have those warmer conditions. And this is likely going to last not just through the first week of June, but likely into the second week of June as well. So this is your temperature outlook all the way through June 11th. And notice how the bullseye of that warmest air, it's beginning to work off toward the east into the northeastern sections of the U.S. But for us here at home, we're still going to be above average. So the summer-like warmth that we've been waiting on, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Take a look at the next 10 days, specifically for the Chicago area. We're going to be in the low 70s tomorrow, upper 70s by Friday, and then we take a brief little dip by Saturday and into Sunday. That's because of a cold front that's coming through on Friday, and that cold front, it could be touching off a couple stray showers or thunderstorms, but nothing major at this point. And then next week, it is all about the 80s, and there's going to be a lot of kids getting out of school next week as well, and it's going to be feeling like summertime, mid to upper 80s expected on Monday and Tuesday, possibly a couple spots tagging 90, especially if we're able to hold on to a decent amount of sunshine. But something that we're going to be watching next week is, one, the warmth, but that warmth is going to be generating at least enough oomph in the atmosphere that we could be dealing with some showers and thunderstorms. And whenever we have heat that is in the mid to upper 80s, that's when we have to watch for rapid development of thunderstorms. So as of right now, there's no day in particular for next week that's really flagging my attention that I think we're going to have strong to severe thunderstorms, but we will have the chance of storms at the very least, just your average garden thunderstorms rolling through by Wednesday of next week. Let's talk a little bit about rainfall. So across the area right now, we are still considered to be in a moderate drought for many of us, but we did pick up some rain today, and I was showing these numbers yesterday, and they've gone up a little bit. So the map that you're currently looking at, this is representing the percent of normal rainfall over the past 30 days. So when I showed you this map yesterday, a lot of us were actually between 35 and 45%, but you'll notice how a lot of us, we have a little bit higher percentage now. So that's a great thing. That means that we have a higher percentage of our normal rainfall for the last 30 days. And a lot of this is really thanks to the rain that moved through this morning. So places down in Kankakee County up to 62% of normal, close to 91% in southern Grundy County. In the Chicago area, we're still only right around 40%. So when the drought monitor data comes out tomorrow morning, it always comes out on Thursday morning, I really wouldn't be surprised if that moderate drought status that a lot of us are currently listed under, that's probably going to continue. I don't really see the rain that we picked up this morning being a drought buster for us. So the past 24 hours around here, most areas picked up between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of rain, but there were a few outliers. In eastern Will County, about 3/4 of an inch. In portions of southeastern DuPage County, that's actually where we saw some of the higher totals coming in, close to 1 inch of rainfall from previously this morning. And right now we are fairly dry across the area. That's going to continue through tonight. But then tomorrow we have a chance of at least some isolated rain showers being possible. For tonight, temperature-wise, we are going to be dropping down to the low 50s, which, by the way, is fairly seasonable. Normal low is right around 54 degrees, but tonight 51. We'll have north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then your forecast high temperatures for tomorrow, it's going to be warmer than what we had today. A lot of us are going to be warming up into the 70s, but just as typical for this time of the year, notice at the lakefront, temperatures are going to be quite a bit cooler. So places like downtown Chicago, Waukegan, Gary, likely only going to be in the 60s. We'll be in the upper 60s then throughout most of northwest Indiana. And that's because we are once again going to have that northerly wind flow bringing in that cooler air. And Lake Michigan water temperatures, by the way, are only in the lower 50s. So if you're trying to plan out next week with all of that warmth that's moving our direction, just be mindful that it's still dangerously cold in the waters of Lake Michigan. So you can dip in, dip out, but you're not going to be, I think, swimming for the long haul anytime soon. Your 5-day forecast for you, we're at 71 degrees for tomorrow. There's going to be a chance of an isolated shower being possible, but most areas actually end up staying dry with partly sunny skies. And then on Friday, that's when we have a cold front coming through. So while temperatures ahead of that cold front are going to be just fine in the upper 70s across the Chicagoland area, for those of you farther inland away from the lake, really wouldn't be surprised if you're coming very close to 80 on Friday. However, once we're on the back side of that cold front, we will once again have that northeasterly wind flow. So that 70-degree high that you see on Saturday, that's likely going to be in the morning, the midday hours, during the afternoon. We'll have the lake breezes coming in. So that's going to keep lakefront communities running a little bit cooler. And then finally, by next week, we are counting on 80s. And it gets even warmer by Tuesday. I'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up very soon on the News at 9. We'll see you then.